called Invisible Town, and it's a series of pictures about um, about mainly buildings, mainly architectural things, but it's kind of the idea behind it is that they're pictures of different places, but if you see them all together, they kind of make a new place in your mind as you're looking at them.
I read in your profile that you sent here that you had a sentence about finding it on the map. What do you mean by that?
Oh well, the idea, I guess, is that it's not a place you can go to, but if you look at it, it becomes a place that you can be in.
Okay. This show.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I really believe in the idea that a piece of art belongs mostly to the person who's seeing it or reading it or listening to it. And so I really hate to say too much about this is what this show is about, because to my mind it kind of puts a wall between the person who's looking at it and the actual art. The sort of layer of interpretation that I'm putting out there before people even get a chance to see it and think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, when people come to see it, it's going to be something that they create in their own minds, rather than me telling them what it means for me. I mean, it does mean something for me, but at the same time, it should mean something for the people who come in and take a look at it. And so I tend to be a little bit vague about what the whole thing is supposed to be. Well, I like buildings. I dream about buildings. You know, I'll have a dream about a building, and I'll walk through it, and I'll look at it, and I'll think about it, and then when I wake up, it'll take me days to figure out if I've actually been to that place and I'm just remembering it, or if it's just something that I've seen in that dream. And so I'm always interested in buildings, old buildings, in interesting shapes of buildings. And so once I started working with these medium format cameras, kind of a natural subject was buildings and architecture and things like that. These are the two main cameras that I use to take the pictures in this show.
Mm-hmm.
They're film cameras. And I like film for a couple of reasons. One is that it really makes you slow down and think a little bit. If you go out with a digital camera, you can easily take 400 pictures. With one of these, you've got 12 for the day, and so you kind of have to think about what you're shooting a little bit more, and try to decide whether what you're seeing through the viewfinder is worth taking a picture of, and whether you're really confident that you're presenting it in the best way. So it does make you think a little more, and I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
These are medium format cameras, so they're a little different than the traditional 35 millimeter cameras. The negatives are bigger. The film roll is about that tall, so you get a bigger negative than on 35 millimeter. It gives you more detail.
Show the camera.
Oh. It's a pretty simple camera. This one is a Holga, which has been made in various forms for years and years. I read recently that the factory that makes this has stopped making them anymore, so you kind of have to scramble around to get a couple of backups just to hang on to those. But it's a plastic lens camera. It's kind of in the family of toy cameras,
Okay.
where it doesn't have a whole lot of controls. It doesn't have exposure controls or f-stops, anything like that. All you've got really is this focus knob here, and even then, it's just little hieroglyphics on the side. One guy, three guys, bunch of guys, and then a mountain, and that's all you got. Which I kind of like because with a more simple camera like this, the only tool you have is composition. So you really have to work on getting the picture composed right, because you never are entirely sure how it's going to show up on the film.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a plastic lens, and so you get little distortions in it. It's not as perfect as a glass lens camera like this one. But you combine those distortions with the large amount of detail that you get in this big negative, and you get a lot of interesting effects, I think. So this is one, and then the other one is my twin lens camera, which is also a medium format. I can't open this up because they're still filming it right now. But you look through the top and you look through this lens, and this is the lens that actually takes the picture. This one was from the mid-'60s, and it's a lot clearer than this one. You get a much sharper picture. And I think combining those two makes a nice combination of similar but different images.
You mentioned vignette.
Oh yeah, where the edges of the pictures will have a higher amount of distortion than the center, and it kind of draws your eye into the center of the picture a little bit. When it works well, it draws your eye into the center. When it doesn't work well, it just looks like a bad picture. So you'll see more of that on the plastic lens camera than you will on the glass lens. I've always liked black and white. I mean, it provides a little distance. If you take a picture in color, sometimes it looks like you're looking at the actual thing. When you take a picture in black and white, what you see is obviously a picture. It's obviously something that's not the actual reality of the thing, and so it makes you step back and look at it a little differently. It's hard to really put it into words. You're just sort of walking along and you see something and you think, I haven't really seen that in that shape before, and I'd like to capture it. There's old stories, and I don't even know if they're really true, but there's old stories, and in the early days of photography, people would be concerned that the camera was going to steal their soul a little bit, something like that. And I always remember that story because, in a way, it's a little bit true. I mean, you take a picture of something, and there's a piece of that thing that belongs to whoever took the picture, and it allows you to hold on to something that you saw or a moment in time or something like that. And so that kind of draws me to photography. Being able to freeze time and be able to go back and look at it later. I think it ideally might give people a chance to slow down and step back and see things in a different point of view a little bit, or even see things that on the surface are very ordinary, but if you take a couple of seconds to look a little closer or look from a different angle, there's very interesting features about them. Features that you may not see at first glance, but if you can change your point of view a little bit or hesitate for a second, then you can see that there's more beauty in there than you thought there was. Yes, I've written several books, mostly for middle grades readers, junior high, things like that. I've written, I'm trying to count them up in my head now, 3, 4. I don't have the list in front of me anymore.
That's all right.
But sort of most science fiction comedies in a lot of places. I've done some through a larger publisher. I've done some on my own. I've started working on books for younger readers now, early chapter books. So it's kind of a spectrum that I've done some work on in that area.
Okay. How do you feel that either your books influence your photography or vice versa?
I don't think I've ever really thought about that.
So what happens when you're interviewed by another artist?
I know. It's for me, it's just stuff that I have to do. I have the ideas, and they're sitting there, and it would just be a shame if I didn't do something about them. So I get to work on the book, or I get to work with pictures. But I'm sure someone who's not me could see themes a little bit better. But right now, I'm not sure what they would be. maybe related to just looking closer, looking at an ordinary thing in a different way. Because I guess now that I think about it, there are themes like that in my books. You start off with something that looks ordinary, and then there's a small twist, and you can see it in a different light. So maybe that's it. Yeah.
Yay, Trauma! Trauma Dance Film Festival. What piece managed to go there?
Well, it was a movie called Zorg and Andy that a friend of mine had directed, and I had done the screenplay, and we decided we wanted to make a movie. He had studied film and had never really gotten a chance to make his movie, like film students want to do, and I had always wanted to try a screenplay, and we said, all right, well, technology being what it is now, we can give this a shot. And so we gave it a shot. We wrote the movie, we scouted out the locations, we cast the actors, we made the film in a week and a half, and we sent it out to film festivals, and the Trauma guys were the ones who wanted to put it in there. And Trauma is known for movies that kind of push the boundaries of taste. Honestly, our movie was probably a little more old-fashioned than a lot of the stuff that Trauma typically would show. I mean, we're not distributed through them or anything. We were just in one of their festivals. But it was kind of a monster movie or a weird supernatural movie, and so there were some commonalities there. Yeah, that was fun. It was funny when they showed it at their festival. One of our crew members, the cinematographer, came down and he brought his kid with him. And usually most of the stuff in there is not particularly kid-friendly. And so he kind of had to get permission from the theater owner to sneak his kid in for our showing and then sneak his kid out afterwards.
And just throw a towel over his head.
Yeah.
Sneak him in.
Yeah. You're the coming attractions. You can't watch any of them.
Out of curiosity, was your movie also in black and white?
No, it was in color. But we did put a lens attachment in front of our digital camera so that we could use different traditional camera lenses on there, which worked pretty well. I think it gave our sound man fits because there was kind of a whirring noise whenever it was on, but it worked out. How do I say it? Our goal was to make a movie, and we did that, and so. Some of the corners you had to cut to get something done in 10 days, we can live with that. I mean, it was a handmade movie. Oh, yes. One of my hobbies now is making homemade musical instruments. Things like cigar box guitars, dulcimers, the Appalachian dulcimers that you play on your lap. What else have I made? Harps. Made a didgeridoo one time out of PVC pipe. The only time I've ever hurt myself working on one of these is with the didgeridoo. I was melting some wax for the mouthpiece, and I thought the wax had dried after I'd finished with it. So I turned the bucket up to take a look at it, and there was only just a skin of dried wax over the top, and the rest just kind of fell on me. I wasn't burned too bad, but still, hot wax. It hurts.
Takes a while to get out of the beard.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the beard then,
fortunately.
Okay. And the beard's new. It's only about 6 months old. And it's just fun. Once you realize that's as long as the instruments don't have to be pretty, you can make pretty much anything you want to make. I've realized that if I wanted to, I could build a piano. It wouldn't be very attractive, but it would play, and knowing that you can put all those things together and make something that you can make music out of is kind of exciting.
We like metal music.
Oh, we do.
I want to hear a didgeridoo in a metal song.
Well, you could do that. A lot of the stuff I like has a big drone component in it. So that's a great drone instrument.
Okay. You
could play that.
What bands?
Sun, I like a lot. It's sometimes written out as Sun 0 parentheses. It's I don't know why they do it. But that's what they do. So I like Sun, Ohm, Sleep. Electric Wizard. A lot of sort of really heavy, slow bands. I mean, if you locked somebody in the basement with the first 3 Black Sabbath albums and didn't let them see the sun for 6 months, this is the kind of music they'd make. So,
Okay.
like that. Old weird folk music. I mean, stuff that is more field recordings. Things that people do just because that's what their parents did, and the music has kind of been isolated. I like listening to that. Harder to find anymore because it's hard to be isolated anymore. But the old recordings from the 30s and 40s and things like that. Listen to those a lot. Let's see, what else am I listening to right now? Monster Magnet, sort of biker music. Good stuff.
Do you ever play any of the instruments?
I do. There's a group up in Lafayette called the Dulcimer Gathering, and they play acoustic instruments. Any acoustic instrument you want to bring. And so the past couple of years, I've gone up every week and played dulcimer. I got my cigar box guitar ready now, so I'm going to bring that up next time too. Play that. Yeah, they do a lot of folk music and stuff like that. It's good practice, and it's a lot. Oh, I love those. Those little pens that have the little clear compartment up at the top, and when you tilt the pen back and forth, a truck goes past or a basketball or something like that. I love those.
What one's your favorite subject?
Oh, I like the travel ones, like Yellowstone Park, or I actually have one from the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, and it's got a little plane going back and forth in front of the terminal. But the more specific, the better. I like Marengo Caves down in southern Indiana. They had one, I think. The Pennsylvania Coal Mining Museum. Just things that are very specific. It's fun to see what they do with their designs, and because the company that makes these just makes them based on people's orders. There's not really a master catalog of all these that you can collect, so you don't have to worry about getting a whole set or getting a complete run. Sometimes when you collect stuff, you kind of get caught up in the bookkeeping part of it. And for me, I just like finding the little pictures with the little guys going back and forth, and so you don't have to worry about whether you've got a whole set or anything like that. It's just fun. I've got 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 jars of those now.
Okay. Well, anything else you think would be interesting to people watching your video?
Gee, not that I can think of. I'm sure once I get out the door, I'll think, I should have said that.
Yeah.
But no, I think we covered a lot here. I think these pictures are pictures that'll take them to a place. Not necessarily a real place, but still a real place in another way of thinking about it. I mean, that's kind of why I don't have any names for the pictures. I didn't like to give them titles. This is not the corner of 3rd Street, or this is not the Smith House or anything like that. I want people to come to the pictures and come up with their own stories, their own ideas for how they relate to each other and how the viewer relates to the picture. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. Hopefully they'll find something they like to see. All right.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And for everybody here, do you have a website? Or
I
anything?
do. It's www.quentindodd.com. That's QUENTINDODD.com. It's got my pictures. It's got the website for the movie. It's got the books that I've written. So it's kind of your one-stop shop if you want to know more about me.
All right. Well.
And if you're not related to me and you do want to know more about me, thank you.